Hello, my Earth Angel friends. Reverend Elvia here, founder of AngelsTeach.com. Welcome to video messages from the angels for the month of May 2013. So I'm smiling as I start recording this because on the other side of the room, and I'm going to show you a clip in a sec, are two of our cats on either side of the Buddha statue. Now, mind you, that may not seem like such an interesting event, and yet it's very relevant because they did this all while I was preparing to do this video. They were trying to get up on my lap. They were all around me. I told them, no, please go do something else. And that's what they chose to do. So take a look. As you will see, Charlie, the white little beast on the one side, and Fluffy, my muse, is looking quite comfortable. She lies on her back and gets cuddly. And of course, they're both surrounded by Buddha, cuddling up to him, if you will. So why is this significant? Let me take you back to my desk area. So why is that significant? Why would I care that my cats decided to do this just at that time? Well, let me tell you. In angel reading, we pay attention to everything that's going on around us in our environment. That's tuning into our clair senses, and this in particular is about the clairvoyant sense. It's the seeing sense. It's what I'm seeing. They moved from being around me to over cuddling up next to the Buddha statue. When I look at them snuggled up next to it, what I'm seeing is a lot about opposites attracting each other. There's gray, and while Fluffy's not black, she's closer to a darker color than Charlie is. He's all white. The fact that Buddha is in the middle is about a coming together. It's about a gathering. And this is, of course, a type of gathering, our doing this monthly messages with the angels. So, without further ado, let's move on to the actual messages. This month, I tried something a little bit different. I love changing things up all the time, so I put a poll out to our Facebook page and asked folks, of the 6 objects that I put out there, vote for the one that you would like a reading on. And the winners were a small brass clock, lilac flowers, beautiful, in season right now. Oh God, one of my favorites. Or a book chosen by the angels. And I'm not going to show you what book it is quite yet. So, as we have done before, what I invite you to do at this point, pause the video if you need to, is to choose one of those 3 objects, because one of those objects has a message for you. The cards that I'm going to be using for these readings are the Gaia Oracle deck by Tony Carmen Salerno, and I love these cards. And I'm also going to be using something that I have mentioned a couple of times in the past, which is my intuitive vocabulary. It's my experience as I relate to each of these 3 items. So when I am doing a reading on lilacs, I'm pulling in all of my life experience around lilacs, and that comes into play when I'm doing a reading. Same thing is true for you. So as you're choosing either the lilacs or the clock or the book, you're also drawing upon your intuitive vocabulary as guided by your angels. So let's do, they want me to start with the book. Interesting, I actually thought that was going to be last. So the book that came forward, interestingly enough, is the Body Ecology book by Donna Gates. And I was just roaming around my house getting ready for this event and wasn't sure what the book was, and I was standing in front of my cookbooks, and this is where this book suddenly had neon around it saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. So the Body Ecology Diet, I'm going to do 2 things here. One is I'm going to flip to a page, great example of using the clairsentient sense, feeling sense, just flipping through the book. I definitely encourage you to do this, it's fun. And stopping when it feels just right, yes. Okay, so part 7, special foods, recipes, and menu suggestions. That is what the angels are guiding us to focus on today. Special foods, recipes, and menu suggestions. All right, so the card that's coming forward for this, I'm sure you're already beginning to understand what the message is for you if you've chosen the book. And the card is Sacred Earth Mother. Interesting, beautiful card. So the message from this is actually threefold. I'm seeing those three balloons underneath that beautiful heart, and it feels like each one of those balloons, those bubbles, those orbs, has a message. The one at the bottom is the very basic. It's about taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your instrument of the angels. I actually had this image this morning of when we really tune into us being the instruments of the angels, we're not even driving that instrument. We're really allowing our higher self, our angels, to guide the process and to really show us how to use the instrument. When we fall into those patterns of not taking great care of our body, it's always, always, always an ego-based influence. And I'm sure that you're aware of that. And this is a gentle message to bring it back to an understanding that our body, and this is moving on to the second message, has its own ecology. It has its own real foundation. It has, I'm looking outside the window. It's a beautiful spring day here, and I see, the ecology, the birds, the bees, the trees, the flowers, all of it. There's this landscape that's outside the window, and there's also a landscape inside of your body. And if you were to pause and take a moment and look inside and see what the landscape looks like inside your body, what that ecology is really included within that, what's it look like? How healthy is it? How strong do you feel like you are? And so this is really an invitation, moving on to the third piece, is if you've chosen the book, that this is, really a call to action for you to go deeper into cleaning up your body and making sure that any addictions that you may have, and I use that term because it's one that the angels like to choose in terms of sugar, things that we don't necessarily think of as addictions, sugar, caffeine, meat even, too much fruit. Fruit can be an addiction if you're just eating tons of fruit and it's not balanced with other things in your diet. So really get honest with your angels around what you need to do to clean up the ecology inside of your body. So to tie all of that together, let's bring back the message from the book itself. Special foods, recipes, and menu suggestions. And this is also part 7. The number itself brings a certain amount of magic, a certain amount of balance to the whole message here. And really what I suggest you do is start by taking a look at what you're eating. Again, I mentioned the addictions piece of it, but pay attention to how you're planning your meals, how you're putting together your menus, and ask your angels to help you with that. It doesn't have to be this big, huge thing. I know a lot of people, when they realize that they need to cut back on dairy or cut back on wheat and carbs, that it can be really hard because then it feels like the whole menu planning thing gets just crazy, and it doesn't have to. And that's really the bottom line. Realize that you can keep it simple. Don't let your ego convince you that it's too complicated. So again, pay attention to those special foods, those recipes, and those menu suggestions. And I have to say, as I was glancing through some of the recipes in this book, which I haven't actually looked at in a while, it's got some great suggestions, so you may want to pick up a copy of the book as well. Okay, so next we have the little brass clock. It's cute, isn't it? Again, I'm going to be bringing in my intuitive vocabulary, and that's the history with this clock. It was a wedding gift, so that may or may not play into the reading, but that is my part of my intuitive vocabulary with respect to this reading. Again, whenever you do an angel reading and receive messages from absolutely anything, you're bringing into it your life experience, everything that you associate, not just visually, not just experientially, but through all of your being. Could even go into past lives, which is pretty cool, actually. Okay, so the card for the little brass clock is Eternal Dance. Interesting. And what I'm hearing clairaudiently is that time is an illusion. So if you have chosen the clock, chances are that you are, actually I'm hearing not chances are, it means that you're feeling under pressure, you're feeling rushed, you're feeling as though you don't have enough time in the day, that you are tied up. You look at this beautiful goddess and she's bound. You know, she's tethered by these branches, by these things that she feels like she has to do. And the message for you is to let go and let God, really, to release those tethers, release those ties and binds, and realize that time is simply an illusion. And that as you follow your guidance from the angels, everything that needs to get done does get done. And anything that really isn't a priority on the soul level is left behind, and it wasn't necessary in the first place. One of the favorite tricks of the ego is to convince you that you don't have enough time, that you're not getting enough done, that you're not good enough, etc., etc. And as you dance that eternal dance, recognizing that you are a soul that spans so much more than just this here and this now, that you are so much bigger than you realize your own divinity. And you step into that eternal dance with love and compassion and forgiveness for you, because you deserve it. So last but certainly not least is one of my favorite flowers ever. For those of you who chose the lilacs, this is your message. Pay attention to your senses is the first thing I'm getting before I'm even picking a card, because sometimes when life gets busy, we forget all those beautiful little details. We forget to stop and smell the roses, so to speak, or the lilacs in this case. All right. So if you chose the lilacs, this card is for you. It's perception. And I'm drawn immediately to the sun on her third eye, at her throat, and the butterfly at her high heart. There's a message about alignment. She's encased in this beautiful protective womb-like clothing, and protection definitely feels like a big part of it. And again, I keep going back to these two beautiful orbs. And I had to tune into this for a second because the message didn't immediately hit me over the head, which is a message in and of itself. In other words, it's going to take some time for you to accomplish this. It's about stepping into your higher senses, your higher awareness. In fact, this is all about awareness. And again, that is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight. In seminary, we used to talk about the 13-inch journey from the head to the heart, which is where the butterfly is. So this is all the reading. The message is really starting to unfold very beautifully. So it starts up here, and we start to realize the awareness where you're at right now. You just may be noticing little things from the angels. You may be noticing little feathers here and there. You may be noticing shapes in the clouds. You may be noticing just little bits and pieces here and there. That's okay. Your awareness has begun, and you've started that journey from here that's going to go all the way down to your throat where you realize it, and into your heart where it's made manifest. So again, this reading, this message is just about patience. It's about stopping to smell the flowers. It's about realizing that it's a journey. You know, as I'm saying this, I'm remembering watching the buds of the lilacs, you know, when they were small. They were not open. They were, you know, just the potential of what they are now. They didn't have the scent yet. And so wherever you are on that journey between your head and your heart, it's absolutely perfect. And you have to trust that. Because if you don't trust that, you start to go backwards and you start to go back up into the head, and that's just going to hold you back. So I'm getting that there's just one more message that has to do with the lilacs, and I'm being drawn to my handy dandy beautiful little pendulum here. And what I am getting from this beautiful pendulum, which is actually saying no right now, but as I'm shifting my thoughts in my head, it's starting to open up. You'll see it's now saying yes. A circle is yes, and back and forth is no. That's kind of my interaction with the pendulum here. And the invitation for you and the message from this pendulum in conjunction with these lilacs is to open your awareness by using tools. recognize that they are tools, but use scent, use essential oils, use pendulums, use dowsing rods, use crystals, use incense, use whatever it is that's going to keep you focused on that journey from here to here. It doesn't really matter what it is. You don't want to give these things authority. I know and I understand that this pendulum is a beautiful crystal, but I'm not giving it authority. My authority is with God and the angels. It's not with any particular object. And yet, this is a very important tool that I use when I'm communicating with the angels. So again, make sure that you're using tools and that you're using them wisely to help you keep focused on that path, that journey. And with that, my beautiful Earth Angels, I invite you to check out all of our courses and our offerings at AngelsTeach.com. Remember that the angels are within you, and they are ready and they are waiting to guide you through every single moment of every single day. With that, I wish you all a beautiful, blessed month. Be well, everyone. I love you.